Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, friends. I'm so happy to talk to you guys today because we get to talk about a really controversial topic. Ready? It is called an endocrine disruptor. And endocrine disruptors have a very interesting place in our society. And basically what they are is they are similar in structure to the common hormones in our body. So think about estrogen, testosterone, and your thyroid hormones, for example. And basically, an endocrine disruptor disrupts the normal function of these hormones or the uptake by our bodies. So sometimes an endocrine disruptor can either block the body's ability to receive the right hormones, or they can cause your body to create too much or too little hormones, or the endocrine disruptor will literally mimic the common hormones in your body, and all of a sudden your body's like, wait a minute, what is this? I'm not ready. Let me go ahead and release some thyroglobulin antibodies into the atmosphere and attack whatever this is. And then the next thing you know, you're super tired and fatigued and your body's like, what just happened? Yeah. Story of my life. So what's really difficult about endocrine disruptors is that it's commonly found in a lot of the things that we use on a day-to-day basis. One of the common endocrine disruptors that you're probably familiar with is BPA, and that's found in many of the plastics that you use every day. Now, one of the things that my acupuncturist actually suggested or asked me about was whether or not I use plastic items, whether it's cookware or things that I drink out of, because many of the thyroid patients that he's treated often have issues with plastics and often experience nausea, which I thought was really, really scary because I hate being nauseous. So now that we understand more about endocrine disruptors, I wanted to focus on BPAs. Now, here's the problem. There isn't a lot of research out there in terms of human research to determine whether or not BPA-lined items or products are truly good for you or truly bad for you. Now, there have been a lot of studies that have been performed on animals, which can suggest that BPAs are in fact toxic and can do some really bad things. However, it's really hard to get a research approval to do the same type of experiments on humans. So that's a bit of a complication there. The other problem is that when you have non-BPA products, there, again, isn't that much research that supports whether or not those items are better for you. And it's not clear what goes into those non-BPA items, and it's very hard to regulate. So there's another level of confusion that's added to us as a consumer that's trying to do the right thing and find the right type of product to use that's not going to leak toxic chemicals into our food that nourishes our body. So now, where do we go from here? What are you supposed to do? Well, there's no right answer. However, here are some of the things that I did in order to reduce my exposure to some of these toxic chemicals. The first thing is that I've started to use glass and thermos-like mugs whenever possible. rather than using plastic products. The other thing that I've done is I use more natural products, and I urge you to really read the labels of these things, because when you look at things such as shampoos, you want to make sure you don't have the sulfates and the parabens and soy things, because all of those can cause issues with your thyroid hormone. So you have to be very careful about that. The other thing that I do is I use a lot of essential oils to clean with, to cook with, and to just really feel good about myself, because who doesn't want that? But on a more serious note, I do a lot of DIY cleaning products. I use my Young Living Thieves oil. I use the cleaning product line that they have. I do a lot of my own laundry soaps and just regular soaps in general. I try really hard to stay away from anything that has soy or soy waxes, because again, I don't want to introduce anything that's going to interfere with my thyroid hormone. So I've started to phase out a lot of the more common household cleaning products out there. Now, if you're not into DIYing your own things, there are natural lines that you can use. I like to use a lot of the brands at Whole Foods. I really love using the Mrs. Meyer's cleaning line, because when I do use those products, my skin doesn't freak out as much as it would if I use a regular Clorox product. But again, it's totally up to you and totally up to your budget and or your comfort zone. And if you don't have the time or the money to do it right now, you can always start phasing out products, which is exactly what I did, because I looked at the price tag on many of these things and I was like, yeah, no, not doing that. But coupons are your best friend. And I have been able to find a lot of coupons online, whether it's through Mambo Sprouts, whether it's through Red Plum or Smart Source. And I often will get 50 cents to $1 off on many of these products. And as I spoke about in last week's episode, and that is buying organic whenever possible. So I know that I'm very sensitive to certain pesticides, so I try to be very careful about what I do. And I also DIY my own fruit and vegetable spray. I use a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. I use about 10 drops of lemon essential oil. And then I also put it in a nice large basin of water, and I just let my fruit sit in it. I swish it around just a little bit, not enough to aggravate it. And then I lift it out, rinse it again, and look at all the yucky residue that is left at the bottom of my container. So those are just some actionable steps that you can take to protect yourself from these things. But I will have a list of all of the things that I have done, and tools and tips and coupon sources that you guys can also utilize to help you as well. So if you have any questions, as always, you can reach out to me at Ebony.Colina on Instagram, or at Total Metamorphosis with Ebony Colina on Facebook. And lastly, ebonycolina.com. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, thyroid warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.